Good evening. This is Biomechanics Sports Center. I'm the host Xavier here, and today I have a couple of my fellow colleagues, and we'll be discussing 5 different biomechanical videos and discussing what's going on within those videos. Here are my guests. How you doing today? I'm Xavier.
Aaron?
Aaron.
Devontae, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Emily, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
Today we'll be talking about one of the best defensive ends in the NFL right now, Khalil Mack, that plays for the Oakland Raiders. Today we'll be talking about how his momentum knocks offensive linemen outside of his own base of support, and how that's really essential in,
I'm really diamond, and I'm shining bright, cause I'm really grinding. They ask me
If I needed a yard, I would run anywhere on planet Earth other than at Khalil Mack.
all my diamonds shine, cause they really diamonds. That bitch is a line, they be really trying. They ask me.
Khalil Mack, defensive end for the Oakland Raiders, has a greater momentum than the offensive lineman number 79, allowing him to push number 79 back straight off his base of support. In football, this is really important, especially as a defensive lineman, because it allows him to get straight to the quarterback and get an important sack for his team. And we all know that sacks are great when it comes to sports.
Today we'll be talking about the stretch shortening cycle and impulse in relation to Byron Jones' broad jump. This is Byron Jones, who currently holds the record for the broad jump. Byron Jones begins with an eccentric contraction, followed shortly by concentric contraction, which activates the stretch shortening cycle. He also has a long impulse, which helped him produce more force over a short period of time, which maximizes distance. The goal of his broad jump was to have the same center of mass when he takes off and when he lands.
Tuning back in. Next, we're going to talk about top CrossFit competitor Matt Frazier and how his base of support and center of mass are related to each other.
The power snatch, done by Matt Frazier, is one of the hardest lifts in weightlifting. The objective of a snatch is to get the barbell from a resting position on the ground to a stable position over your head with your arms locked out. This whole entire concept is based on Newton's law of inertia, which is an object in motion will remain in motion unless acted on by an outside force. As the bar is lifted, the idea is to gain enough momentum and get under the bar while the bar is still in momentum. You do this by thrusting your hips forward and shooting your arms and elbows back. We can see that Matt Frazier's base of support stayed steady around his feet while his center of mass is staying higher on his torso throughout the whole lift. Staying low in the squat helped achieve a better base of support. While the weight was lifted over his head, you could see him swaying back and forth, meaning his center of pressure was changing. He has a wide stance with his feet, which increases base support to aid in lifting the extremely heavy weight.
Center of mass and center of pressure and how the two relate concerning Usain Bolt running and sprinting.
A person's center of mass is the point around which a body's mass is equally balanced in all directions. As we can see here in the Usain Bolt video, he is taking advantage of the starting block because it essentially puts the runner's center of mass close to the base of support boundary, making it easier and faster to start the race. The starting blocks also help with ground reaction force, as he's putting pressure downward to the ground, and the ground is essentially pushing him back up. It looks as if his center of mass is outside of his body, as he is completely horizontal over the ground. But this just gives him an advantage and allows him to run faster in his race. For our last video, we will be talking about one of the best tennis players out there, Roger Federer, and how stability and balance affect his game and what makes him the top player in tennis.
Let's go. Make no excuses now. I'm talking here and I'm talking here and now.
Sneaky, squeaky, but Federer with another forehand winner and a 4-1 lead.
Now it's not about what you've done, it's about what you do.
Stability is the resistance to disruption of equilibrium. It is also the resistance to linear and angular accelerations. Coupling with the definition of stability, we have balance, which is the overall ability to control equilibrium. As we see, Roger Federer is a stellar tennis player. His technique allows him to have stability and balance without even questioning it. In the beginning of the tennis serve, we see that he has one foot in front of the other with a wide stance, which will provide him with a good base of support. Throughout his tennis serve, his base of support rotates from one leg to the other. His center of mass is forward throughout. And even though his base of support shifts throughout the serve, he remains stable due to his impeccable technique. He maintains equilibrium throughout by achieving perfect balance and stability. As a side note, his tennis racket wires provide friction while hitting the ball to allow for a more controlled hit that packs quite the punch on the receiving end.
When looking at Aaron's snatch, we notice that when he gets the bar above his head and he flexes his elbows back, he doesn't necessarily sit down correctly. His base of support is there, but he's not sitting back, so his center of pressure is off. His center of mass should be a little bit towards the median of his body, towards his elbows and his chest, but he doesn't sit back, so his center of mass is all the way off, as we can see in the slow motion video.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in. Next we're going to talk about top CrossFit competitor Matt Frazier and how center of mass and base of support are related to each other. Hey guys, thanks for tuning back.
Welcome back, guys. The next video will be talking about Welcome back, guys. Today we'll talk about Byron Jones, the stretch shortening cycle, and impulse. I screwed that up.
Hey, we're back, guys. We're talking about one of the best defensive ends in the NFL, Khalil Mack. One of the top 100 players, actually, in the NFL. Plays for the Raiders. We're talking about how his momentum knocks over defensive linemen.
Today we'll be talking about Byron Jones in the relation to